Greetings once again, and you have been pulled into the black dimension. This is Kev, and the Roger is here also, and we both would like it if you would continue to help the growth of this channel. And if this is your first time here, please do hit that subscribe button and like the video. Right now, we're doing our discussion on the Disney Plus series, Hawkeye. This is one of the Disney Plus series. Is a continuation in the story continuity of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What's up, Roger? How you doing?
What's shaking, brother? What's shaking?
All
Ready to
right,
get another
now,
good episode in.
all right. So, did this? Okay, I can say watching this show was pretty good in its own right. How it stacked up against the other Disney Plus Marvel Cinematic Universe series. Yeah, we can kind of discuss that. You've seen that we've already had WandaVision, which was a show about Wanda Maximoff and Vision. We had Loki about the God of Mischief. We had Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was basically it was a buddy comedy with serious with some serious themes in it, and now we got Hawkeye. So I would say that yeah, it was pretty good. It's probably I would say not the best Disney Plus series, but it's still pretty good in its own right. This is Hawkeye is more of street level, and I would say that we probably need more street level stuff. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What do you think?
You know what? Honestly, I thought it was pretty good. Now, admittedly, I binge watched. I did 3 episodes. Then later on, I did another 3 episodes. I actually thought it was pretty good. Okay,
Uh,
it felt movie-ish to me. It felt like a movie.
yeah, I mean, well, with the quality and filming of television shows these days, and Disney Plus definitely takes it up a notch. Yeah, it does have the feel of like a lot of these miniseries that come up on Disney Plus do feel like movies. I would say, outside of the MCU, a Disney Plus series, I pretty much like with the Mandalorian. I mean, yeah, the quality has really gone up, and it really does a lot for the Marvel product as far as Disney now. Um, Hawkeye introduces some new characters, in particular Kate Bishop, which who is sort of a successor to Hawkeye in the comic books, and the elements of the character, the best parts were introduced into the into live action itself. Kate Bishop is played by Haley Steinfeld. Now they kind of used her you know inspiration, I would say, as as her way of getting into the superhero business. She actually was living in the middle of New York during the Battle of New York, and what inspired her to become an archer slash superhero was the famous scene where Hawkeye was jumping off of the roof in the first Avengers film. Which I mean, it does it work? I mean, I'm okay with it, but does it work? Do you think her witnessing that, witnessing a guy with no superpowers and just a bow and arrow, taking out alien intruders, with firepower?
Well, you never know where inspiration can be drawn from. You never know. I honestly, I kind of accepted that there was a way for her to. It made sense for her to concentrate on Hawkeye because of that dramatic part of him jumping off that building, which is we all know that's the cool scene when it comes to Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So I kind of accepted it as okay, that'll make her pick him as a favorite because she was so close to the action at the end of the day. But shout
Yeah.
out to Marvel for doing a great job as far as connecting the movies and the universes and being so thorough with how they tell this whole story. Because at no point in time do you necessarily need a bunch of other stuff to enjoy what they put forth. But at no point in time, if you watch everything, do you feel like it's not a part of that same world? So
Yeah,
they do a great job of needing the other films without needing the other films, or needing the TV shows without needing the other TV shows. They do a heck
yeah,
of a job.
man. Look, they like how they open up the show with like Rogers the musical. I thought that was pretty funny, especially like the way all of them were kind of performing and dancing, and they show like really how it like how it affected Hawkeye because he saw that as like a street battle where many people were dying, and it was a little bit of PTSD that went with that. And here they are trying to make the scene where they risk their lives to basically save the world. In a first of many, into a cheery musical.
You know what? I actually really like this scene, and one of my favorite parts about this whole situation. I mean, I get it; they were honoring their heroes in this particular world, in this particular universe. It's cool. It's cool. They picked a hell of a way to honor their heroes, but this seems like you put the right people together, they would do something like this. And my favorite part about this, honestly, was the fact that they actually had Ant Man at the Battle of New York. And the fact that in real life they would actually do something like this and start sticking people and stuff that had nothing to do with it at the end of the day. Shout
Yeah,
out to Ant Man, but he wasn't
no, we wasn't there at all.
there.
Yeah, but yeah, so a bunch of things started happening, a chain of events like the reappearance of Ronan, and that was impossible because Hawkeye was Ronan. you know, so what happened in the show? They sold the suit at an auction or something like that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and then like they started to get like then something happened. The auction got attacked, and Kate Bishop, who is Haley Steinfeld's character, put on the Ronin suit to kind of hide her identity just so she could fight the bad guys off, which will prompt Clint, played by Jeremy Renner, to go out and seek this person. And that's how the partnership of Kate Bishop and Clint Barton began. You know.
And the fact that the suit was being sold at a black market auction, to me was a great way to introduce why they even knew each other. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
and I like the way Marvel keeps it real, where they have certain events happening to remind you that this is their universe. So the fact that the Avengers broke up, you know, Tony done passed. Um, Stuff would get slipped here and there, so it made it very realistic, and I like the realistic touch because they make their universe like this would be happening if all these events really took place. So the fact that someone stole Avengers gear to sell on the black market, that seems perfectly legitimate. Now it should be very tough to get something like that, but I can definitely see something like that happen if these were real people and we lived in a world with these real events. If these were real events that happened.
One thing, one thing I also liked about this show is you never really knew who the real bad guys were until the very end. Like, at first you thought it was Maya Lopez. She's a character named Echo. Echo just happens to be someone's in particular's niece, and she is getting her own Disney Plus show because of the performance she put in the Hawkeye series. Now, as far as like new character introductions, yeah, I do like the fact that they're trying to get more characters involved and in the mix, and some of it really is to fill the void of the characters that left, due to the first phase of the MCU. Now, how does she do as a character? I would say, as far as representation purposes, it might be good to have someone like this around. But did she really do that great to the point where, oh my gosh, she deserves her own show? I don't know. So hopefully, when the show does finally come around, it's a really good one. I mean, and then based on the track record of the MCU so far, it shouldn't disappoint. It shouldn't
I'm
disappoint.
I'm gonna be honest. Her getting her own show, I'm gonna watch because it's MCU. but I'm not gonna watch it because of her character.
Okay.
Her character did not pull me into like, yeah, I want to see this person in a show. She didn't come off that great as a character. I mean, she was good as far as being a character and part of it, but there's some characters that stick out, maybe because of the actor, maybe because of the role, maybe a combination of both. This was not that person. Okay, she was good. I'm not saying she was bad in any kind of way for those who don't understand, but there are certain people like Coulson. Coulson was just such a lovable person, or people just got such a feel to Coulson that people just wanted more of Coulson at the end of the day. It was sad to see him die. He was that type of character. Maybe partly because of the gentleman who played him, maybe partly because of the role, or maybe a nice mix. So there are characters that you want to see more from her. Of course, I don't mind her showing up in anything else because she did do a great job. But I'm just saying she didn't do anything that make me want to see her like in a television series. Like I'm gonna take it because it's there and it's Marvel, and I trust Marvel so far. But I'm not gonna watch the television show because of her. I'm gonna watch it because it's Marvel.
Yeah, and then they use characters like this to really introduce, other probably possibly more popular characters. Like, because I hear a rumor that um, Charlie Cox's Daredevil may appear in this show. And I mean, yeah, you're right. In order for this show to kind of work, she's gonna need some hella support for that. You know, and might be able to get support from who was revealed to be her uncle. This guy right here. Yeah, I would say that Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is probably the biggest reveal of this entire series. I mean, you did have other new characters come in, like you had this guy right here. I don't know his real name, but he's a character in Marvel Comics called the Swordsman. Uh, but he kind of told the teeters on the line of good and evil. Uh, and some would have it actually described him as creepy. You also have this one right here. You got Yelena, who returned from Black Widow. Now, for those who watch, she was actually one of the ones that got blipped for 5 years, so she was just basically out of the mix. And but she did make impact in this series. What up, Donnie? What's going on?
What up? What up? What up? What up? What up, everybody?
All right. See, we got Donnie here. So, what do you think of the Disney Plus series Hawkeye?
At first, watching the preview, I wasn't quite sold. It looked like Home Alone in New York, the Marvel version, and really that's what it kind of started out as. But as the series grew, it grew on me. I think it built into the next generation of Marvel superheroes with the new Kate Bishop Hawkeye. I think it told a great backstory into Clint Barton's life, kind of after and around him being Ronin, and the Marvel Avenger Hawkeye. I think it was a good story all the way around. I enjoyed Yelena Belova's character. She's very charismatic, I'll say, and I hope the Echo show is going to be good, even though I don't like her character. But maybe I'm going to watch it. There's nothing else I can do. So yeah, it was a good show for me.
Wow, y'all not easy on Echo at all. She's alright.
Oh, Roger, it was extra, and I wanted to have some kind of super ability, not just be a uh, overcompensating deaf girl. And I also wanted to see a little bit more from Kingpin. I feel like that was a great lead up into what Kingpin does in the future. And we'll just see what happens. And
All
yes,
right.
I'm very familiar with the end.
Yeah, spoiler for. Let's get into a little spoiler. Like the Kingpin, like they were rough on him, man. It's like, and what they do? They shot him with an arrow. They hit him with a car. They blew him up, and he got shot.
Yeah,
and he got shot. Now,
All in one night. All in one night.
all in one night, man. I mean, he is tough as nails. And Vincent D'Onofrio did
Buck
say
his
yes.
Hawaiian shirt up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio did confirm that that is the exact same guy from the Daredevil Netflix series. Like saying that
Yeah,
they were saying that somehow uh, he came up a little bit more during the blip. Which I mean does make a little sense. I mean, it does make sense to introduce his character in that way too. But like I said, this was probably the biggest reveal. The biggest, like just kind of like Charlie Cox and Spider-Man: No Way Home, except that wasn't the biggest reveal for that one. I mean, that movie was so big. But yeah, this multiverse thing is really taking off, and I do anticipate some great things coming from it. Some probably some duds too, but this hopefully they show you more Kingpin in the future. I mean, like street level Marvel stuff has always worked with the right writing and the right kind of acting, and I believe Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin could add well to that mix.
I believe so
yeah. I
too.
mean, the core of Marvel isn't what you know as the Avenger level threat. It's really street level shit going on, mostly architected by the Kingpin. So to have him brought into the series, it shows a wealth of promise because he can be the villain in pretty much every Spider-Man movie. He could be a villain in Blade. He could be a villain in all these new street level heroes that are coming out. Kingpin, great addition to the team.
And I believe it's great filler too because in a world that has these type of things happening on a regular basis, you lose some of the realism if you have Avenger level events happening all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah, I do.
So to
Yeah, I
me,
do
it
agree.
helps keep the show grounded and it gives you more of that realistic feel.
Uh,
Go ahead,
uh,
Kev. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. And there was a comment made that the Kingpin is like the street level Thanos, which I will have to agree with. I mean, the Kingpin is a major player in Marvel Comics, and I mean, like they need somebody like him. You know,
I mean,
especially.
pretty much everybody on the street level, everybody in New York answers to Kingpin. There's few and far exception, maybe like Norman Osborn here and there, but even then, he kind of has to bow down to Kingpin. Kingpin is running shit.
And you know what? I just want to say too, because I was very impressed by it since you just mentioned Thanos. Not that he made an appearance in this city. I mean, in this series. When now my mind's drawing blank. What's Black Widow's sister? My mind's drawing.
You
Yelena.
later below.
Okay, yeah. When Yelena went through the blip, the way they showed the blip from that um perspective, I would say, I thought that was absolutely fantastic. That was great, and I like the way they showed you the same thing, but showed it a totally different way. So I didn't even catch it at first with what was going on. I didn't realize what happened until she came out and started talking to those other people that she had been through the blip. I did not even catch that at first. Which when I went back and because I replayed it, I seen where you could kind of catch it what was going on, but until she started talking to those other folks, I hadn't even realized she had got blip. So it was a great way that they handled that.
And
Like that.
that's the first portrayal of somebody going through the blip, right? Like actually going through it in real time.
Well, they did have Monica Rambeau coming back from a blip in WandaVision. She was
Oh, okay,
sitting
yeah, okay.
yeah, she was sitting in the hospital with her mother, and all of a sudden she comes back, and everything, was in chaos because people started reappearing. It was like, man, with this one, it's like Yelena didn't come out of the bathroom for 5 years. It's like, what the
Oh,
fuck
that's a
going on in
tough
there?
one right there. I done been to the bathroom a little bit myself, but it ain't never took me 5 years to come out.
5 years. Now, unlike Roger, I knew immediately because, like, I mean, you could not have caught it because it, like, yeah, it happened so quick. But when the walls started changing, and then she went into that little turning the leaves for like 2 seconds, I knew exactly what happened. She had been blipped. But yeah, it was very cool. But it, let me see. Yeah, but anyway, let's Donnie, let me ask you this and one more time before we go. Shoot, how about that Rogers the musical?
That was annoying because I really was expecting or hoping to see something uh like a real like after credit, and I got this bullshit. What I don't like, somebody actually sat up in their chair and was like, you know what? The fans are gonna want to see this bullshit ass musical. No, the fuck I didn't.
You know what? I did not even take it that way at all. I took it that they were gonna put this in a series, you know. So they had somebody, hey, just write this up and make it a, you know, they give it, make it a job just like it will make it any other job. So somebody came up with a full musical bit. I'm not gonna say they wrote a whole musical, but made a full bit.
Yeah, but I mean, the name of the song was "I Can Do This All Day." Like
I can do this all day.
he said that in the 1940s fighting a bully. It's like, how did they know he said that? But it's
I
just
mean, you know, interviews
Well,
and
no,
things
no,
like
no.
that. You got to think about it.
That was his catchphrase. He did it when they came back in the Avengers end game when he was fighting himself. He said it. And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, I know." So I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that that was maybe his catchphrase, because they had trading cards and everything about that man. My thing is, if you knew enough to say I can do this all day, how the hell did you put Ant Man in this musical?
Yeah, but that's so real that somebody would actually stick an Ant Man in there. 'Cause that's what I said earlier. That made it very realistic to me that they would stick Ant Man in a situation that he had zero to do with. You know, it's like we've seen. Hey, I seen a movie where Lincoln was all about freeing the slaves. Now I know history, and I know that Lincoln was not about freeing the slave. But if I believe what the movie told me, Lincoln was freeing the slave. That's what he was all about. So that's what made it realistic to me. The fact they stuck Ant Man in there and he had nothing to do with it. It just made it realistic to me. Now, as far as this Rogers musical being an end credit scene, I can understand the disappointment in it being an end credit scene, but it was interesting because I actually watched this whole thing at the end, and I could just see these folks just sitting up there writing up something like this if this were really events happening in our real world. It seems so like American people. I just said it that it seems so like American people to come up with this.
yeah, this yeah
Yeah,
we just
I'd be suing. I'm not even gonna hold you. I would sue.
yeah, man, we have a tendency to screw up everything. I mean, but Roger, you have a point there. Now, all right, as far as chemistry is concerned, let me ask: did they pull it off? Did you believe that Kate Bishop and Clint Barton had that student mentor kind of feel to it? Are y'all looking forward to seeing the return of Kate Bishop and whatever else she pops up in? Did this do it for you?
To me, it helps it become more realistic because at the end of the series, Hawkeye obviously brought her home with him. So now it makes what she does in the future more believable. But she wasn't that great in this
Yeah.
one. So I mean, she as far as like being a fighter or something like that, or being skilled or something, she really wasn't that good. Which you know what I'm saying? Like when she ran into Yelena on the roof, Yelena said, "I was just being nice and getting you out of my way." Like she wasn't a threat to anybody for real. So that's why it kind of made sense to me. She was a non-threat throughout the whole series. But go ahead.
For me, this built the story all the way through because it was an arc where Hawkeye was going deaf, and I think he was running through the city. And if you read any Hawkeye comics where he's out and he's actually getting beat up, he's not like the other heroes where they kind of bounce back after falling off a building and everything. Hawkeye be getting messed up, and he has to put bandages on himself. And that was conveyed in the movie. He had to teach her how to put the bandage on. He had to tell her, hey, listen, this is what you know. You don't want to do that. You want to put the gauze in. You want to wipe this wound out, X, Y, Z. And then, at the end of the movie, at the end of the show, she did go home with him, right? And that was because, I don't know how in depth the spoilers were going to go. That was because of what happened with her mother. Now, at this point, she's pretty much become a mainstay in Clinton Barton's family. She's gonna be put through the paces. She'll probably go into some kind of shield program or something similar. And I think it perfectly moves her into a position to be the next Hawkeye because Clint Barton is looking a little long in the tooth. So
Yeah,
I think it was a perfect setup to have the Young Avengers go down.
All right. All right. So the overall verdict on this show, and I think that you guys can probably agree with me on this. This is a entertaining watch.
absolutely. I thoroughly enjoyed it, honestly.
Yeah. And with the appearance of new characters, and now for me, like the whole Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin, I like seeing that. So it does make me, optimistic about the future of the future of the MCU. So, anything else on this one, fellas?
No, I'm all wrapped up
Uh,
with it.
All right, all right. So,
Moon Knight's next.
all right. Oh, Moon Knight. Yeah, yeah. Looking forward to that one. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, and we probably will do a preview and review on that one too. So, uh, definitely check this show out. Hawkeye, great watch. Disney Plus, available for on demand. And so, on behalf of Roger and Donnie, this is Kev. You guys have been pulled into the black dimension. Good luck finding your way out. Till the next time. Peace.